Hi everyone. In this video we are going to be preparing for our English exam. So first we will go through the vocabulary you will find in the exam, then we will look at some grammar rules, some functional language, and how to approach the questions in the paper. So let's start with the vocabulary that will be covered in the exam. Okay, here are the key vocabulary words. Please make sure that you learn the spelling of them and the meaning, and try using them in sentences. The first word is clock. A clock is something we use to tell time. So this is a clock. I get up. Get up means when you wake up in the morning. Get up. Eat breakfast. If we want to use time in a sentence, I would say it is 3 o'clock. So please note that when we say o'clock, we are talking about the time, and that's when it's pointing at the 12. So if it's 3 o'clock, I will write it like this. And remember, a sentence should end with a full stop. Okay, over here we can see the word do my homework, walk, day and night. So these words that they've given us, we can use them to make sentences about our daily routine. What time do you get up? What time do you eat breakfast? What time do you do your homework? What time do you take a walk? Do you do this in the day or at night? So please make sure to practice writing some sentences using this vocabulary. Check your spelling. Make sure that as you practice, you are getting good spelling. Okay, now we have the word hot and cold. We know that the desert habitat is very hot, and the Arctic habitat is very cold. So hot, cold. If the weather is not too hot or too cold, we can call it warm. Then there's the word dress. If we use the word dress as a noun, it is a thing, a piece of clothing that girls wear. But dress can also mean a verb, to put on your clothes. We sometimes use the word dress. So let's use an example with this item of clothing called the jacket. When do we wear a jacket? I dress warm when the weather is cold. You can also say, I wear a jacket when the weather is cold. So that is the vocabulary that we've been given. Now let's practice some grammar rules. There are 3 grammar rules that will be in our exam. The first one is present time, the second is prepositions, and the last one is adjectives. So let's go over some present time rules. We did this in term 1. So when we see I or you or we or they, these rules are similar. For I will say I am, or I will just say the verb. Okay, this is if my verb is the form to be. But if I want to use the verb jump, remember a verb is a doing word. So if I take that verb, that doing word, like jump, if I'm saying I will say I jump. If I say you or we or they, I will say, you jump, we jump, they jump. It does not change. But he, she, and it, they love S. So when it comes to he, she, and it, we will write our verb jump. And if it's a he, a she, or an it, remember he is a boy or a boy's name. She is a girl or a girl's name. It is a thing, one thing. If we see these words, we will say jumps. We put an S on the end. Okay, so we add an S to the end of our verb, the doing word. Okay, so this is our rule for present continuous. Here's some examples of it. Depending on the spelling of the word, we will either add S, ES, or IES. We add S if it's a simple word like jump or feed, but if the word ends in a ch or sh sound, so those ch, sh, z sounds that sound like sh, so lots of sh sounds, we're going to add ES on the end of them. And if the word ends in a Y, we will take the Y away and we will add IES. So for example, cry, take the Y away and it becomes cries. Okay, please do some practice by clicking on the link. If you are in the PowerPoint, you can click in the middle of this picture, or if it doesn't work for you, you can copy this link and put it into your browser tab. These are to practice if you can identify different kinds of doing words, which is our verb, our action words. Then let's practice the form of to be, which is, am, and are over here. And please practice have and has. So before you start, we'll do the first one in the picture as an example. Remember what letter I told you he and she and it love? They love the letter S. So when I talk about he, she, and it, I'm going to write has, the one with the S in it. Just like when we say is, am, and are, I will choose is because they just love S. Okay? So please remember he, she, it. You will find has and is. And if I put my verb like jump or eat, I will put S on the end because they love the S. Okay, so please give these two activities a practice. You can click on the picture or you can copy and paste those links into the browser tab. Here's some extra practice. This practice has all sorts of different words in it using the present simple. Okay, the next grammar rule are prepositions. Prepositions are words that tell me where something is. It helps me to describe where something is. For example, I can use the word in to tell me where something's position is, if it's inside something. If it's on, under, next to, behind, you will see that some of it is blocked out, right? In front of, between, this word here. If there are two objects, it will always say the word, the name of the two things. So you will see the sentence says, the ball is between one box and another box. It will say and, or it will say two boxes. It will give you two items. That's when we use between. Opposite is when you are across from someone else. So they are not close, not like next to, they're so close. They can touch each other. They're just there, right next to each other. But if I move it away, it becomes opposite. So here's some practice, simple practice to see if you can remember the words. And over here we have some practice in sentences. It's a little bit more tricky. Okay, now we're going to look at the last thing, which is our adjectives. An adjective is a describing word. A describing word tells me more about the thing, the noun. So a word that tells me about a thing is a describing word, which is an adjective. We put them in different places in the sentence, and you need to know where we put them, okay? So when we use a describing word in the sentence over here, we say the tree is brown. So the tree, that's my subject. Is my verb in the form to be. And brown is our adjective, the word that tells me about the tree, the noun. The tree is brown. If I want to make a longer sentences now, using a color like brown, I will now put the word before my noun. So for example, I want to say the tree is tall. So I will say the brown tree. I put the color before the noun. The brown tree is tall. Okay, this word tall confuses some students. When do I use tall and when do I use long? Well, tall is when we measure something from the bottom, from the ground up. And long can be anywhere, but it's measuring from one piece to another piece, and it's usually an amount. So if I want to talk maybe, for example, about the pencil is so long because from one piece to the other, if I measure with a ruler, it is long. So I will not say the tall pencil, I will say the long pencil. A giraffe, on his body, he has a long neck. I'm very bad at drawing, as we can see. So this giraffe has a long neck. How do we know? If we measure it, we will know. But if I'm talking about from the ground up, I will say the giraffe is tall. Okay, so if I'm measuring from the ground up, I use the word tall. If I am just measuring the length of something, how long something is, I will use long. Okay, I hope that helps you understand a little better. So over here is an example of using a color with something extra in a sentence, two adjectives. The green apple is big. Do you see big is also an adjective? But when we talk about the words size, big and small, long and short, and I want to make it into a sentence, I will say first, color goes just before the thing. The color goes just before the thing. I can even make the sentence longer, and then we have a new rule. When we describe something using size and color, I put the size first, then I put the color. So for example, let's say I want to talk about the green apple, and I want to say it's big, but it's also sour, the taste of it. So I will say the big green apple is sour. So when I talk about size and color in the same sentence and I'm making it long, I will say the size first, then the color, then the thing, the noun. Then I will put my verb, is, if it's a thing, am, if it's the word I, and we will use are if we are talking about many things, we or you, or they. So the big green apple is sour. So So please make sure you know when to use is, am, and are in your writing because we use these words a lot. Also make sure you use the or a correctly. Sometimes we write sentences where we say apple is. What about apple? The apple. An apple. Okay? So please make sure we use in the beginning before we talk about our thing. If it is not a proper noun like the name of someone, you need to put the or a or an. Okay, here are some examples of some adjectives that we may use. The shapes, shape of something like circle or square, rectangle, star, triangle, oval. These are our shapes. You may describe the shape of something. You may also describe an object's color. Then you can talk about the design on the object. Does it have stripes or does it have spots? If these words confuse you, remember to look in the middle of the word. Stripes, it has lines, okay? It has lines. Spots has the big O in the middle because they are made of different kinds of dots, okay? So this here in the next picture is a bug, and we can see that this bug, so this bug or the bug it loves S because it's one thing. The bug has spots. And over here we can see the flower. Please learn the spelling. The flower has stripes. I don't know if you can see it very clearly in my picture, but there are some stripes here. Okay, so the flower has stripes, the bug has spots. Over here on the bottom, I can see a big elephant and a small mouse. So I can compare them by saying the elephant is big, but the mouse is small. If my ideas are not the same, I will use the word but. If the idea I'm mentioning is the same, I will use the word and. For example, the bug. If I want to talk about two things that are on the bug, I can say the bug is red and has spots. Okay, so please practice over here. You can practice if you can tell the difference between spots and stripes. And here we have some practice on the position of our adjectives when it comes to size and color. Okay, if you can't remember, rewind this video a little and watch what did I mention about when we have size and color, which one comes first, and try it again. Okay, the final thing we're going to do is let's talk about some language they're going to use in the paper and some things they may ask you. So in the exam, they may ask you to express likes and dislikes. So this means they want you to tell me what you like and what you don't like. So maybe you may use the word my favorite, or I like. My favorite, maybe my favorite fruit is an apple, or I like an apple. Talk about something you like. You may use the word I like or my favorite. Then when we talk about a dislike, you will say I don't like. I don't like. If you say you like something and then you say something you don't like, you will join the sentence with the conjunction but. Okay? I like Nutella, but I don't like broccoli. Okay, so please remember when you join a sentence where you say you like something and another sentence where you say you don't like something, you will connect it with the word but. Then you may get questions about describing places. Describing places, so a place that you've been to. Maybe they will ask you about Abu Dhabi, right? Or Dubai. And if they ask you about it, describe it. Tell us, what is it like? Is it hot? Is it cold? Does it rain? Is it dry? Please use your adjectives. So if we talk about Abu Dhabi, it is hot and dry because it is a desert. If they ask you about the Arctic, you would say that it is cold and icy. So please make sure for this section describing places, you go over adjectives and write some sentences using the words hot, cold, icy, dry, or rainy. Okay, remember we can make our adjective by ending our word with a Y. You may also be asked to describe objects like the flower and the bug. You will look at something and then say what's on it. What shape is it? What color is it? Does it have spots or does it have stripes? Okay, over here you will find some examples of some sentences. And here are the words that we need to make sure we put into some sentences for practice, okay? Over on the bottom, you can see the page of your book that you have some sentences using these words. So please go over those pages as well. So here's an example of an assessment and what it may look like in the exam. Remember, they will not ask you these questions. They will change it, and I will just show you some ways of answering it, and I'd like you to use the strategies, please. So remember, we learned how to underline and look for keywords. In this first example, they were supposed to put a sentence and they only put one word. So please remember, in the exam, it will not just be one word, it will be a whole sentence. So in the sentence, when you read it, you need to look for keywords like the word homework. If we look at our pictures, we can see that this girl over here is doing some homework. The next word is the word park. If you don't know it, we move on to the next word. We say bird. I know it is a bird. So then this one must be the park. In the exam, they will give you 2 extra pictures. So you will have to think a little carefully because sometimes some pictures are close to confuse you a little, okay? So look for some keywords, and most of the questions will be from the words they've asked you to learn. In this section, we will put our grammar rules to the test. Let's see if we can read this and fill in which words are missing by circling them over here. So it says we. We is not one person, it is many, so more than one. We visit our family and friends and playing, play, or plays. Let's look at we again. Remember our rule, who loves us? He, she, it. Is this he, she, it? No. So we do not want S. Now we look at the others. Do I say we visit our family and friends and playing? No. I'm going to say play. Okay, so our answer is B, play. Please make sure in the exam that you also write the answer over here just so that you can read it as a sentence. And if it sounds good, then you know it makes sense. Sometimes when we read it and we realize, no, this doesn't belong, we can fix our answer, okay? It's not necessary for you to write the answer here. It's just something you can do to help you read the sentence again and try and hear how it sounds so you know that if it makes sense or you think maybe you made a mistake. Okay, the next one says, my mom makes nice foods, food or drink. This here, the apostrophe, we call that an apostrophe. It tells me that the food belongs to someone, or it can tell me that it's a contraction. This is not a contraction, and the food does not belong to anyone. It just says my mom makes nice food or drink. We don't say drink, we say drinks with an S on the end. So it is not drink, my mom makes nice food. That's our answer. So my mom makes nice food. I never sometimes, or always. We need to choose from these three. Sorry about that. This question number 6, we need to read what comes after. And think about never, sometimes, always. Never means you don't do it. You don't do it. It's not something you do. Sometimes means maybe. And always, yes, you like something, it's your favorite. These are words you will see with the word always, right? If you really like something, you're always going to do it. You love it, you like it, right? So let's look in the sentence what we see. We see I eat bananas because I don't like them. If you don't like them, then you are never going to eat them. So the answer will be A, never. I never eat bananas because I don't like them. Okay, number 7. It's the beginning of a sentence. That's why it is in capital letters. At, I will take some chocolate. In, I will take some chocolate. Next time, I will take some chocolate. At and in do not make sense. The only word that makes sense will be next time. So it will be C. Okay, next time I will take some chocolate. So please remember, when it comes to time, they may ask you to fill in and give you the options in, at, on. When we use on is for a day, days of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we say on. For at is for time. At 6 o'clock, at 3 o'clock. Okay, so for time, we're going to use the word at. We also use it for night. We say at night. We also say it for the weekend. So these words, night, the time, weekend, we're going to use at before it. But if it's about the day, like Monday, my birthday, Friday, even if it's Saturday, Sunday, if it's one day, we're going to say on. Even if I Saturday and Sunday, I will say on Saturday and Sunday. But if I use the term weekend, I will say at the weekend. Okay, remember to leave a space. So this is an example of when we use at and on. For these questions, there will be a few like them, I think 5 maybe or 6. You need to match the text to the title. It will not be simple. You will have to read carefully, and there are some words where they will use synonyms. Remember we spoke about synonyms? Synonym, same name, same meaning, right? It sounds like synonym, same name, same meaning. So words that have the same meaning, we're going to look for them, okay? That's how you can find your title. So here it says, pizza is my favorite food. So favorite. Favorite is things that you like. You love them, right? I always eat it with my family. You see how we use the word always with something I like? I don't like to drink tea. So don't like means you probably will never drink it, right? I don't like to drink tea. So now, what are they talking about? They're talking about things they eat. So you look at your title, my homework. Food I like. It's things you like or don't like. Even though they mention things they don't like, it's about food. If there is nothing else that matches better, then this will be the answer. Question 8. After school, I sit on my chair and read my books. The books are from my school. It didn't say homework anywhere here. But what book comes from school that you have to read at home? Homework, right? After school you go home. At home you will read your books. That's for home. So that is why the answer is homework. Okay, now let's move on to this type of question. Please, when you are reading, remember to underline, circle, highlight. Think carefully about what you are looking at and what you are looking for. In school, we are learning about animals. I like dogs. Mine is nice and has long ears. I don't like birds. We are going on a school trip to see the animals. We are getting on the bus and driving to the zoo. It is a long way away. The first question says the dog. Okay, so I'm going to use a highlighter here. We are looking for the dog. Where do we see dog? So I go quickly through my text. I see here dog. What did she say about dogs? She said, I like dogs. What else did she say? Before it, she said about animals. Nothing about dog. After this. So when we read, we always read when we find our word. Read the sentence before, read the sentence after. Okay? If the sentence before says, I like dogs, and the next sentence is talking about the same noun. So instead of using the word dog again, they say it is. Or in this case, mine. Mine means my dog, right? My thing. Mine is short for my thing, something that belongs to me. The dog. They're talking about the dog. So the next sentence, whatever we see in it, is about the dog. So we are looking for the word. The dog has long ears and something. So let's read the sentence. Mine is nice and has long, here's that same word we saw from before, let's underline it, long ears and. Do you see now the word is before? What's the missing word? You see that? Nice. Look in my word bank. You see it? Good. We take it and we put it inside here. Okay. If you have not tried the rest of the text, pause this video and try it yourself. See if you can use the strategy we are practicing to find the answer for question 11, 12, and 13. Then unpause the video and see if you have the same answers. Okay? I will now continue. Her favorite animals are. So again, I will use a highlighter and I will change the color. Okay, so we're looking for her favorite animals. I see the word animal over here. I see the word animal over here. Now I need to look for favorite. So the first sentence where I see animal, now I'm going to go over again with my pen. It says, in school we are learning about animals. Does this tell me which animal is her favorite? No. Second sentence where I see animals, we are going on a school trip to see the animals. Now, none of those sentences are giving me the answer I'm looking for. We want to know the name of her favorite animal. So now we need to look for animals' names, right? In our word bank, we have two animals. We have a dog, I'll put a dot here, and a bird. So let's now look for dogs and birds. And remember what I said, when we find the word we highlighted, read the sentence after, the sentence before. So this sentence did not help me. Let's look at the one after the word animal. I like dogs. Like means she likes it. Let's make a heart, okay? Like, she likes it. Like is another word for favorite. I like dogs. What does it say about birds? I don't like birds. So, which word am I going to choose? Dog or bird? She does not like birds, so it must be dogs. Okay, we've used this word. I will cross it out. Let's move on to number 12. Okay, number 12 says the class are going to the. We want to know a place to see lots of animals. So over here it says we are going. They're going on a school trip. There's no word that says school trip here. So that means I need to look a little bit more to find the name of the place they are going to. You see that word to? They are going to. We are going on a school trip to see the animals. We are getting on the bus and driving to. To where? The zoo. Is the zoo a place? Yes. So now we have found our answer. The zoo. So I will put my answer over here. We are going to the zoo. Do we see lots of animals at the zoo? Yes, it says so in the sentence before. To see the animals, right? So now I know I chose the right word, zoo. The last two words are bus and long. So let's read our sentence. They are going on for a long drive. Would I say they are going on for a long drive? No, that does not sound right. Okay? It says it is a long way away. Now let's look before. They are going on a. We are going on a school trip. But school trip is not here. So we continue. We are getting on. Again, something they can get on, right? On a bus. They are getting on a bus. Okay, I hope that this helped you to see how you can use the strategy of circling, highlighting, boxing your words to find the answer. Okay? You circle and highlight the words that you feel are relevant, but we are looking for keywords, words that are nouns. Okay? And think about your action words. Think about when we use the word on or at or in, your prepositions. Okay, we're going to use the same strategy to help us answer this passage. In this passage, you will see that we answer it. The answer is not directly from the text. We answer it by using what we call method of elimination. That means if I cannot find the right answer, I find what I know is wrong and I cross it out. We are looking for what's wrong, so we know that we can cross it out to find the right answer. Okay? So let's look at our information first. There are two paragraphs, number 1 and number 2. So let me look first at number 1. Sorry about that. Number 1 says, paragraph 1 is about big plants at school, blue plants at school, plants in my classroom. So I'm going to look for those words. Big. And remember words that mean big, like large, huge, blue. Or plant, another word for plant, tree, flower, things, plant, right? So other words for them. And where? In my classroom. Another word for classroom, school. At school, we are learning about plants and animals. I like learning about how plants grow. So we see here the word plants. They're learning about plants. They like to learn about how plants grow. I asked Mr. Ali about how to plant a flower. He said plants need water. The water helps the flower to grow tall. The plants in school are small because there is no water for them. So we are talking about plants in school, in your class. Were they big? No. We said small. Big is not small, so it cannot be A. Are the plants blue? No, didn't say anything about the word blue. So C must be the answer. Even though they did not use the word classroom, this is the only one that can be correct because A and B are clearly wrong. So this is how we can find an answer by method of elimination. That means we cross out what is wrong to find what is right. Okay, for question number 15, it says paragraph 2 is about. So we will read about paragraph 2 and we are looking for the words playing at school, mum's favorite animal, small plants at home. After school, after school. After school means after, when we go home, right? So, A is already wrong. Playing at school? No, we are not at school anymore. After school, I like to go to my garden. My mum and I like to see my flowers. They are tall. They have lots of colors. My favorite flowers are red. My mum's favorite flowers are yellow. Flower is a plant, not an animal. Here they say animal. Is it about mum's animal? No. So the answer must be C. I know that the word tall here is mentioned and here it says small. Okay, so even though it says tall and small and they don't match, this is the only answer that can be correct because it is about plants at home. And none of the other answers match. So the answer must be C. Question 16. Both texts describe. So now we are looking for one of these words that are in both the texts. So remember, before looking for the words, try and list the synonyms, the words with the same meaning next to it so you know what to look for. Water, water is water, right? Animals, the name of any animal that we saw. We saw, when we read through here, I didn't see any animal's name, but I did see next to plant, I saw flowers, right? They spoke about flower a lot. So let's read our two texts. Which words do we see? Do I see water in the first one? Yes, they spoke a little bit about water. It needs water. The water helps the flower to grow. But what is it talking about? It's talking about flowers and growing flowers. And here it says, after school, I like to go to my garden. My mom and I see lots of my flowers. They are tall. They have lots of colors. My mom's flowers are red. My mom's flowers are yellow. So they are talking about plants, your flower. So for this type of one where we are just looking for something that both texts are about, look for the idea that is the same in both of them. Okay? It may even be a sentence that they give you in the exam, not only a word. Question 17, you can use this text to draw a picture of. If someone asks you this question, we've done this in our practice as well, To draw a picture of something means the text must be about that. It must be describing it. So, is the story about things that can grow? Is it about children at school or animals at home? Children at school. It didn't say anything about children. It spoke about plants and about growing a plant. And here she spoke about her mum and how they like to go to see the flower in the garden with the colors. So it is not about children. The second story is not about animals, so it is A, things that can grow. You can draw a picture about flowers that can grow or plants that can grow. You cannot draw a picture about children from this or animals. Okay, the last section will be writing, and the writing is for 40 marks. There are things that we mark you on. So I'm going to tell you first what we are looking for, and then we'll see how we can use the question to create an answer. Remember, in the exam, you can get any kind of question. So it's important that you understand how we are marking it so you know how to answer correctly, okay? So we mark you on what is called task completion. Task completion means, did you answer the question? Did you answer the question using a full sentence? A full sentence must have subject, which is your noun, okay? Sorry about that. So your noun, then you have your verb, then you have adjectives, object, the words that come after, right? We call this the predicate, the verb plus the extra. If you do not have a noun and a verb, your sentence is not complete, and you will not get a mark for this section, task completion. Even if you write a word that is correct, that belongs in the answer, but if it is not a full sentence, you will not get a score for task completion. It is out of 8 marks. So please make sure your sentence is a full sentence with a noun and a verb. The second thing I look for is vocabulary. Vocabulary. They give you this big box with vocabulary. But if you add extra vocabulary from words we have learned in our lesson, from high frequency words that we use all the time, there, is, from, but, by, and, why. When we use these words that we use all the time in our daily sentences, you get extra points for this. So if you use minimum, the words from here, just to answer the question, but nothing extra, you will get 6. But if you can add some extra vocabulary from what we have learned, from words we use often, like many times in our sentences, you will get more points to get 8 out of 8. Okay, the next thing we look for is your spelling. Are your words spelled correctly? The extra words you've added. If they are not high frequency words like at, the, these words you have to know how to spell by now, right? In, to, these words we must know how to write. But if they are extra words, for example, you didn't have the spelling for the word purple, and you wrote purple like this, and you forgot to put the E on the end. If it's one small mistake, we will still give you the mark. But if you make many mistakes, too many mistakes with spelling, then the spelling mark comes down, okay? So if it's just one mistake or 2 mistakes, it's okay. But if it becomes more than that, more than 2 mistakes, the spelling mark will become less than 8, okay? So the first thing, the task completion, full sentence. Vocabulary, used many different kinds of words, especially the words from the box, and the vocabulary is about the answer, not something else. Spelling words are correct, okay? For vocabulary also, we're looking at like your and task completion together. We look at your grammar. Did you use the word has correctly? Have, is, am, are, these words, okay? Then we have our punctuation. This is the easiest one to get a score for. What is punctuation? Capital letter. In English, we have a capital A and a small lowercase a. This is the one we want to start our sentence with, okay? Only one capital in the beginning of the sentence. Do not make capitals throughout the sentence. Only the first letter. The only time we will have another capital, if it's the letter I. I on its own is always capital, okay? And if it's the name of something, if it is someone's name, then I will put capital. But if it's not a name, if it is not I, and if it's in the middle of my sentence, it will be small. Look at the sentences inside of the exam paper to give you an example of how it should look. Capital letter in the beginning, full stop on the end. You see that full stop? Please make sure you have punctuation. Capital letter, full stop on the end of every sentence. If every sentence does not have your capital letter and your full stop, your answer will be wrong, okay? And your mark will go down. But if every sentence, the first one is capital letter, the end of the sentence has full stop, you will get your 8 out of 8, inshallah, right? And remember, if we are using but to join a sentence, we will put a comma before it. So, but, we add a comma before. This counts towards your punctuation. Please, if you add extra commas where they don't belong, if you add extra capitals somewhere they don't belong, you are going to lose marks in punctuation, okay? So make sure that you check for those things. 8 marks, just for making sure that you put the correct capital letter in the correct place and the full stop at the end. Handwriting. You will get 8 marks for handwriting. If your writing is not completely correct, automatically it will go down. Okay, if I can read it, but it's not perfect, you will get 6 out of 8. If it is perfect, everything about it is neat, the writing of every letter is correct. That means a G is written on the line. I see a lot of students write P here. No, that's how we write capital P. If it's not a capital, it goes on the line. Only if it is a capital letter will it go here. So if I was writing the word purple, I would write it like that. Okay? Make sure that your writing is on the line. If it starts on the line and then here it goes up, down, no. You cannot get a good mark for writing if that's how it looks. Okay? Okay, so those are the 5 things that you get a score for writing. So full sentences, vocabulary, spelling, punctuation, handwriting. So now let's look at an example of how to answer this question. And I will show you how I would have scored it to give you a mark. What color is your house? If you see the word your, my answer will become my. Before I put the thing, the noun, I must have the, a, an. So these words are going to be before it. Either I'm going to say the house, a house, and We know our rules for an. It's A, things that start with AE. So, an apple. Or your vowels, we will start with an. Okay, the is for the house, a car, the car. But in this case, they asked you about your house. So please look in the question. What does it say before the thing, the noun? This is your subject. The word just before it will tell you what to put in your answer. If they asked you what color is the house, then your answer will be the house is. But if they ask you what color is your house, you will change the word your to my. My house. There's my subject. Remember I told you? Subject. Now I need my verb. My verb is. Is. My house is. My house is. Now I want to know the color. Look in your word box for a color. Yellow, red, white. These words are colors. Pick one. My house is red. Ooh, I want an extra mark. So now what am I going to put? I'm going to put and. And I will add another color. Yellow. And if you've been studying a lot and you know some extra words, you can say with stripes. We learned about stripes and spots, right? My house is yellow with stripes. Okay, my house is yellow with stripes. Let's check my work. It's not very neat. Let me erase this and write it again. I have time. My. Is my writing on the line? Yes. My house is red and yellow with stripes. I have a subject. I have my verb. I have my spelling correct. I have a full stop on the end. I have neat handwriting. Everything is perfect. Okay, second question. How do you get to school? You will become I in a sentence. I. Now it says get to school. We're going to change this a little. You can say I get to school in A, but it's easier if I say I go to school we go to school using what? A bus or a car? You choose. So you say I go to school with a car, or I go to school with a bus, full stop. Okay, so I'm going to give you one more example using a question about what time do you get up? Okay, so let's say the question is, what time do you get up? Or let's say wake up in the question. Wake up. So the question is, what time do you wake up? You becomes I. I. It's not letting me write here. Sorry about that. I cannot seem to write on the bottom of the page. Okay, I will try here a little bit more above. Instead of using the word wake up, one of our words we had to learn is get up. So I will say I get up at. Now I want a time. So because I'm using time, I'm going to use the word at. At 6 o'clock. Full stop. You can use this for anything. If they ask you, what time do you have breakfast? I have breakfast at 6 o'clock. What time do you do your homework? I do my homework at 6 o'clock. As long as your formation of your sentence is correct, that's what we're looking for, right? So make sure you have your subject, your verb, and then you're describing words after. Use what we have over here in the question to make your answer, right? We've practiced this in class as well, and if you need any extra help with writing, please, after completing the practice papers, if you need me to check them for you, you may send them to me in Telegram and I will check them and send them back to you. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this video has helped you to see some strategies in completing the exam and how to use certain words in the correct way and adjectives correctly. Okay, good luck.